All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Elevate and Evolve with Felicia, the space where we stop settling and start ascending. I'm your host, Felicia, and every week we dive deep into mindsets, habits, and stories that help you rise higher and become the best version of yourself. It's time to shift your perspective and transform your life. Let's elevate, let's evolve, let's get started. And today I have Danny Lampkin on, and I'm going to read you his bio and tell you a little bit about him, and then we'll jump right on into this episode. Danny is a transcendent writer, speaker, and parents' rights advocate who has authored multi-genre works, namely psychological thriller, memoirs, contemporary romance, military memoirs, and self-help. He's a husband, a father, and a retired veteran, Army, Navy of 22 years. Danny is the kind of author who doesn't just write about how he feels or thinks. He writes about what he knows to be true of himself and the world around him. Now a full-time author, Danny and his family call the Southeast Alabama area their home. Welcome, Danny. Welcome to Elevate and Evolve with Felicia.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. And it was a pleasure, y'all. I want y'all to know he also is a speaker. When I say he can speak, I listen to him. The day I spoke, he was the first speaker, and he is excellent. I really and thoroughly enjoyed hearing him speak, and I was like nervous coming behind him. He set the stage high. So today we're going to get started with Danny, and we're both veterans, and thank you for your service. He did more time than me. I couldn't get promoted because I had to do something I didn't want to do to get promoted, but here we are. I've started my businesses. So, first question for Danny: what inspired your writing journey?
But most people's writing journey, I believe, begin with their passion of reading. Well, that wasn't the case with me. I mean, I've always had a passion for words and writing. It was the reading part I wasn't too fond of, as weird as that sounds. I don't know. I grew up in the 90s, and back then, if you wanted to talk to a girl, right, you either had to talk your way in or write letters. Well, I wrote letters, and I was good at it. But I didn't find my voice until I joined the military, where I found myself writing multiple evaluations and tons of awards, tons of white papers and SOPs and military journals that were published on the ArmyUniversityPress.com. But when I retired, I began to reflect over my life and over the world, myself, my bad habits, my mistakes, and I began brain dumping on paper. So when I allowed my pastor to read it, he encouraged me to publish. And after I published that one book, the books just kept coming and coming, and the content kept coming and coming. And all of a sudden, now I'm in love with literature. I love to read. I love to write. Have 5 books, getting ready to work on my 6th book within the next 6 months or so. Yeah.
Wow. I was shocked. I didn't know you had that many books. You didn't tell us that to the end. I was like, wow, yes, that many books. Wow, that's good. Which of your 5 books are you most proud of and why?
I'm proud of all of them. However, I would say my latest and greatest, my psychological thriller, it's called Barely Got Away. This is my most proud book because with this book, I got outside of my comfort zone. I began my writing journey strictly nonfiction. And then I ventured off into contemporary romance. And then this one here, Barely Got Away. I'm most proud of it because it was inspired by a dream that I had on December the 10th, 2025. It was a one scene dream. It felt like it lasted 3 to 5 minutes. And I woke up immediately and something said, write down what you just saw. And so I wrote it down. And then the following week, I began writing an entire book about it. And I mean, it wasn't anything I had to conjure up. It was as though the content was already there. And so I wrote the book, and strong theme of positive transformation and resilience. Got it published, and right now it is my top seller of all my books.
What's the name of the book again?
It is called Barely Got Away.
Bear.
Barely Away.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can
it's
I
a
purchase? Can I
Amazon.
purchase that for you, or it's on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble, Ingram Spark, Target, and a few more other platforms. Ebook is available, and within the next, I would say, 3 weeks, my audiobook will be ready. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about. I want to know a little bit more about that book.
So this book here is about a guy named Aiden Stone, and he gets married, and the first thing he wants to do is go hunting. You know, he's a country boy. He wants to go hunting, and his wife's like, "Okay, go hunting." So he woke up that morning and was getting ready to go hunting, and his wife had an intuition. You know how ladies' intuition kicks in, and she was like, "Look, you can go hunting any day but today. I feel like something terrible is going to happen." I mean, she was begging and pleading this man not to go, and he was like, "No, I'm going regardless." He went anyway, only to discover that he was the one being hunted. And so he vanishes without a trace, leaving behind his wife and his newborn into a brutal compound with 250 other guys just like him, of all races and colors and sizes and ethnicities. Well, he forms an alliance with some one guard and two other individuals with him, and they get together and formulate a plan to escape. Now, I don't know if they're going to escape or not. You have to get the book to find the information out. But I would just say this is one of those types of books that you can't put down. It was,
Okay.
it is extremely authentic. No movie, no book, or anything else inspired this book. This book is strictly original. Original thoughts and an original dream that came, I believe, from God. Because all five of my books, how should I say this? That I never planned to write them. All five of my books, I always received an unction in my heart and my brain that was given to me that allowed me to write those books. You know how some authors say, "Well, I want to write a series." No, 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 that's not the case with me. The information that I get from my books strictly comes from content that I believe can come from God because they all share the same common themes, but they're different, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. That's very interesting. You're making me want to read that. I like books that I pick up and I can't put down.
Mm. So
Books like that I love. So let's go on to the next one. How did you discover your passion for speaking? And y'all, I got to tell y'all, this man can speak. He was the first speaker at Impact and Influence. I was the fourth speaker, but he was the first. When I say he set the stage high, he set the stage high. He is an excellent speaker. So if you want him to come speak, I tell you, you will be thoroughly enjoying what he has to say. So answer a question for me, Danny.
I have not always loved to speak in front of people. Um, this passion I have for speaking came from when I became a first sergeant in the Army. When I became a first sergeant in the Army, I was in charge of 265 soldiers, 265 personalities, good, bad, ugly, and different. And I had to speak to them publicly every single day, either one by one or within the whole group, every single day. And by the first year of me performing as a first sergeant, I began really enjoying my speaking because I could see that my speaking was making an impact on the masses. Um, I've saw several soldiers who were subpar in the beginning become motivated to not only be a soldier but become a better man or woman, mother or father. And so it dawned on me, hold on, I think I'm on to something. And so the more I spoke, the more confident I began to speak, and the more I started sharpening my own personal skills, my own intellectual skills as well. And I became motivated because of the impact that it was having on others. And so when I became a first sergeant in 2021, yeah, 2021, that's when my love for speaking really, really began to take shape. Being confident in front of large people, speaking my mind, being myself, coming from just a country boy coming from Southeast Alabama, where my exposure to greatness were lackluster. Um, that time in the Army, being a first sergeant, speaking to people, individuals over and over, having to speak in front of and during ceremonies, after ceremonies, gave me my confidence. And I learned that, hey, when I speak, there are great things that comes out of it. All glory to God, first of all. I'm just excited and glad to be a vessel. Yeah,
Well, I tell you, you can do it. You are very good. I thoroughly enjoyed hearing you speak.
I appreciate
So, all right. So, on to the next one. What are the shadow sides of being an author?
it. I would say understanding the fact that not everyone will enjoy your work. Not everyone will enjoy it. You can think your book is great. You could. I honestly believe my books are cream of the crop. I honestly believe that. But just because I believe it doesn't necessarily mean that others will as well. And I've had that reckoning throughout the course of my short author career. Um, yeah, not everyone is going to enjoy your genre or what you have to say. And sometimes people are so controversial that they will they don't mind expressing that to you, and you have to be ready for it. You have to
Yes.
you have to have tough skin to be an author because authors are risk takers. When you say I'm going to write something on a sheet of paper per se, and I'm going to publish it for the world to see, you have to be open to criticism, for praise, and all of the above because people are going to come with their opinions. So when you write something, you need to make sure that you stand on what you're writing and you actually believe in it. Not something that you've heard, not something that you not the trends you're trying to follow, but something that is authentic and original to you and be willing to stand on that. That's number one. Number two is understanding the fact that your hometown is not your target audience. It's not. Let me tell you a short story. The first book I wrote, I did a book signing in my hometown. All of my classmates said, "We're gonna be there, man. We're gonna support you. We're gonna be there. We're gonna, and that's my hometown. So a lot of people know me. So I expected a turnout. I expected a lot of people. Felicia, I had food galore. I had books galore. I had giveaways. I had drinks. I had the perfect venue. It was elaborate. My first book signing, I was excited. And I'm very proud. I was very proud of myself. And I had music, and I looked at my watch, and it was 3 minutes before kickoff time. I looked at the crowd, and I saw 7 people. And I went into the bathroom. I looked in the mirror, and I told myself out loud, "What do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are? These people don't care about you." And I cried for 2 minutes in the bathroom. Looked at my watch again. It was go time. I wiped my face. Came out. Music playing, smiling. I had a whole staff too. Had people playing. Had servers. And I came out, and it was 12 people. And I was like, still not. So I got up and I spoke and I did my interviews and I did my book reading as if there were a million people in the room. And when it was over, my wife looked at me and she said, "You did good." I said, "Thanks." And for some reason, I couldn't let it go. I did another book signing in the same town, made almost $1,000, and that I believe, Felicia, is what motivated me to keep going. That even though you bomb or you think you bombed, whether it's speaking, whether it's sales, whether it's whatever, keep going if the passion is there, because the passion is there for a reason. keep going, and eventually you will hit. And I've had several book signings since then where I made a lot of money, and I've had several book signings where I've had sold 5, 6, 7 books. But it was because of the exposure that I had earlier when I sold, when I almost made $1,000. If you think about $1,000, I'm selling my books $10 a piece. That's a lot of books, and that's what keeps me going. I love it. And then the book reviews that I read, I've had several people email me saying, "Hey, your book changed my life. I appreciate it. When is the next one coming out?" That's what keeps me motivated. So I would say to any author, there's gonna be some times where you're not gonna sell anything, and you're gonna look at your Amazon account and you're gonna say, "Wow, 450, 459 for the month." You know, don't be discouraged. If the passion's there, keep going, and you can apply that to any area of your life.
That is so true. I when you say no one show, you didn't have that many show up, it made me think about Jesus. He
Mm.
said you had invited all those people, and what 12 came. Jesus, and when he was in his hometown, people didn't respect him. So if it happened to him, it'll happen to you. You
Wow.
keep going. If your passion is there, don't give up on it. Because this business here that I'm doing this podcast on, I was August last year, I was ready to shut it down because I've tried everything in this business.
Mm.
And when I was sitting here at this desk crying, I'm like, God, I've tried.
Mm.
And then I heard no real loud, so I was like, okay, I ain't gonna shut it. Soon as I did that, I got on the podcast and then the speaking stuff started happening. Then he started using men and women of God to speak into my life about how he's gonna use me with the speaking. So it's very encouraging. You can't give up because I've tried this business, everything. Now that I've switched it to speaking and this podcast and selling books out of it,
Mm.
things are starting to move. It's slow, but you
So
know what? It's moving. It ain't like it was.
yes.
And so don't give up on your dreams. You just keep on going. And sometimes it's hard, especially when you've been doing stuff and you're trying to make it move. Just keep going. If it's your passion, eventually your passion will pay you. I'm a living witness because my first business, we've been 21 years with that, with Kingdom Communications as a low voltage contractor. And the first 5 years were rough. But after that, I mean, we started after that, start making six figures. And now where we're at, I'm like amazed with no advertisement.
Mm.
I'm living a life that I would have never dreamed in a million years. And that business pretty much makes sure I can do this and other stuff. And we have five of them in commercial real estate and all. But that business there is the heartbeat of everything. So if I can tell you what Danny said, never give up on your dreams. If you got passion, go for it. Your passion will pay you one day. You
Mm-hmm.
just don't give up, and it ain't easy. I'm here to tell you, entrepreneurship is not easy. It ain't for the faint-hearted. If you faint, don't try to get into doing nothing in business. Stick to getting a paycheck from someone.
Well said. Yeah.
All right, our next question here. Do you have any speaking engagements or book signings scheduled in the near future?
I have several. Uh, March 14th in Montgomery, Alabama, I have a book signing there that I'm looking forward to. That'll be my fourth time in Montgomery. And then March 28th of this year, I have Pensacola, Florida, book signing there. And April 25th, I believe, I have another book signing in Greer, South Carolina. Never heard of Greer, but I guess I'm going. Greer, South Carolina. As far as speaking engagements, I have what is it? Oh, I have a speaking engagement here in my hometown, Enterprise, Alabama. In front of it's going to be a private speaking engagement with a certain book club, and then as well May 2nd this year, it is a book signing slash speaking engagement slash author panel in Dothan, Alabama. Just to name a few.
Okay. I need to get with you on how to get some of these things. You told me about how to get with getting my books out there, but some more speaking engagements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What advice would you give an aspiring authors? What advice?
Yeah. So I would say advice of inspiring authors: write what you would want to read. I said earlier, don't try to follow trends. If you talk to one of these publishing agents, they'll tell you, hey, the hottest genre right now is dark romance. Don't fall into that trap of, well, let me conjure up some dark romance stuff. No, no, no. Write what you would want to write. I started out strictly nonfiction because that's what I wanted to write. Then I ventured off into fiction because that's what I wanted to write. So I would say write what you would want to read. Um, don't follow the trends, and then keep pushing. And then if you're not serious about authorship, I read one in one area where it says there are 11,000 books that are published on Amazon a day. 11,000. And from my observation, a lot of people think that authors make money. People who don't know, they think that authors, they think you can quit your day job when you can't, unless you're already famous. Um, if you're not serious about it, don't do it. There are people I know that write books not for money. They just want to write books because it's therapeutic for them. That's okay too. But if you're not serious about it, like you don't want to, if you don't want to expand your horizon, like I want to, my desire is to expand my horizon. I don't want to be in a bubble of Alabama, Florida, and Georgia just because it's local. That's the reason why I like to travel and do speaking engagement, because if you're serious about it, you're only one phone call, one text, one exposure, one person, one event away from really, really blowing up. And by blowing up, I mean getting your book out where it's nationwide or even worldwide, you know. So if you're not serious about it, you're just doing it because you think it's cool, you're just doing it because you saw the next person doing it, don't do it. Be serious about it, and then write a book that you would want to read. And if it's not good, if you write a book and you know it's not that good, you're on the fence about, don't do it. Don't publish a book unless you think in your mind, your heart, that this book is really, really good. Because if you don't believe it's good, none of the readers will believe it's good as well. It is good as well.
That is so true. To be an author, and then you really have to push your stuff. You have to get yourself out there. Otherwise, you will not make any sales. So if you're really serious about writing books, you got it. Like he said, if you're not famous, famous people sell their books all the time because they got the audience. But you have to get out before the people to push your book. And I'm telling you, if you don't know, you'll be sitting on books. I've been sitting on books. I've sold quite a bit, but I need to sell the rest of these books I'm sitting on. So I've gotten, thank God I met Danny and I met some more authors, and I'm asking them what are they doing. And Danny, can you tell people, if you're an author, someone that's already got books and they're sitting on it, some things they can do where they can get out and sell their books and not just sit on books like you told me?
Mm. Let me just say this: if you publish traditionally, your publishing house should do all the marketing for you, advertising. But for the majority of us who are indie authors, you have to do all that legwork yourself. What I do to get myself out there, to get my name, my books out there, I do several book signings within my state and outside of my state as well. I am a member of Facebook. Different groups on Facebook where I think the name of it is Authors United or something like that. Where all they do on there is post where is the next upcoming book signing by state. I'm a member of two groups on that one. I also just Google, just plain old Google, book festivals, book fairs in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, California, whatever case may be. But majority of the time, they have the people that are running it have author booth fees, so they're not gonna let you set up in their venue for free. But I've some of the fees range from $30 a booth, which is really really good, to I've seen $450 a booth, which is not good. Don't get caught up in overpaying, because a lot of these event coordinators are trying to get paid off the back end. Let's just be honest about it. And you may end up selling only 10 books. So now you're at a financial loss. Don't pay that much for a booth. If it's a big city like New York, Houston, I would say don't pay no more than 250 for a booth, because most of the time when the festival is in a big city like that, they expect large traffic, and because they expect large traffic, they gotta have a large venue, and because they want to look nice, they gotta have the venue is gonna cost a lot for the event coordinator, so they're gonna have to kind of jack the price up for the vendor booth. So for a large city, no more than 250, no more than 250 for a booth, and so I do large cities and small cities. I would say the most I told you the most I've ever sold was in a small city. I made $1,000 in a small city, and the most I've made in a large city was 450. It depends. It depends on the marketing, how well the event coordinators advertise. And when you look for these book festivals, go on their website, look at the pictures, go on their Facebook page, look at the comments, because a lot of these event coordinators are scammers. They say it's going to be ample space. They'll say we're going to provide you food. They're going to say it's going to be large traffic, and then you get there and it's 20 people walk through the door, 40 authors, 25 readers coming through the door.
Wow.
So you really take. I've been there. I'm telling you because I've been there. Just was just jumping on every book festival in the beginning, not knowing how it really worked. No, no, no. Look at the history of it, and talk to people that's been there and say, hey, how is it? Look at the history. And then I've also been to a book fair, and I want to say this: Jacksonville, Florida. I've been to Jacksonville, Florida twice for a book festival. The first one was great. The second one was not. She had 50 authors in a room, maybe the size of my living room. My living room is not that big. We were shoulder to shoulder. We were so tight that when readers came in, they had to sidestep to get to another author. It was bad. I sold 7 books. God, I don't know how I sold 7 books, but I sold 7 books that day, and the fee was 175. So look at the pictures. Look at the author setup, because they take pictures of their events. If you see authors like this side by side, don't go. Don't go. Because at the end of the day, it's still a competition. Every author in there, I don't like to say it, but it's really a competition. Because if you have a reader come in there and say, I plan on spending $50 on books, well, if they got to go through 50 authors, they may end up spending all their money before they get to you. You see what I'm saying? And you may have the best book. Now they're like, I'm out of money. Can I get your card? And now you hit or miss, because you know what happened with business cards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope I'm not being too wordy.
No, it's good. We're getting the time. I need the time. So one more question. Okay, you talk about the book festivals and all of that. What about your speaking? How do you go about getting speaking events? I know how you got Eric's. We're not gonna talk about Eric's, so that one we had to pay for.
Yes. Um, all of the speaking engagements I've had so far were invites. So that's why I like to do a lot of book signings. Because, like, for example, this book here, this is my second book. This is my military book. It's called What Was It Really Like? That handsome young gentleman is me. Okay. So when I do a book signing and someone grab this book and they read it, they like it, they say, "Hey, we're doing a Independence Day celebration. Would you mind speaking in front of our congregation at the Independence or a VFW or a American Legion or just anyone?" Then it comes to this book here, Strong Enough for a Man but Made for a Woman. This is a self-help. I've had folks say, "Hey, I love your take on the family court system. Do you mind speaking at this venue concerning this?" Or, I'm a resilience coach. "Well, do you mind speaking about resilience?" I normally get them from my book signings.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'll get
Well,
email.
well, that sounds good. And ladies and gentlemen, again, this is Danny Lampkin. Danny, thank you so much for coming on Elevate and Evolve with Felicia and taking time out your busy day to be here. And I pray that this information helped our hearers so they can elevate and evolve to the next level in life. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and I'll talk to you Later.
Thanks for having me.